One thing that separates myself from others within the work environment or within the restaurant industry is certainly my experience. I've been in this industry for 16 years, but the main thing that I really do, even beyond that, is a sense of diplomacy, a sense of tact, being able to talk to everyone, keeping people together as a group. I always felt that I came from small family atmospheres of restaurants in general, and my entire career was pretty much spent here in Brooklyn, and I feel it's important to have like that veteran around, that's able to act as the glue for the group. It's important to be able to speak to everyone and kind of like, you know, be able to kind of get them through the day when things get tough or whatever else. And it's good to have that earpiece and everything. And you gotta have, the ability to be diplomatic about things and see both sides of issues. And these things are always going to pop up no matter where you are, especially in a bar, nonetheless. I know that from experience managing the Flatiron Lounge. Um, so that's the answer for your first question. As for the second one, the main thing to take away is, you know, the the main thing I take away from that video with Danny Meyer, and he's someone I certainly respect in the industry. I do follow a lot of the things that he does because myself wanting to be an owner at some point in my life, but he's generally, and you can see that in the video too, that he's an outstanding speaker. He knows to engage the audience and ask questions, and I feel like that's one of the things that has helped him be successful over the course of his career. Um, very much reminds me of the book, how to make and influence friends, which is something that most salespeople actually read to get a better understanding of, interaction with one another. The main thing that I do take away you know, is actually like interpreting the gray area. He speaks a lot about the irrelevancy of right and wrong, and he's not to take away from that, he's 100% right on that. It really doesn't matter. It's more about listening and understanding what another person wants. And, the industry itself, it's about service, it's about hospitality, but most importantly, it's about being there to listen and understand, another person and what their needs are. And I think that's the main takeaway from that. It's not the argument, it's not wasting your time. You know, just because you're right doesn't mean that you can still go about it the wrong way. And he's very right. Very much hits the nail on the head with a lot of problems with communication within amongst ourselves, is that we don't take enough time to put ourselves aside and listen enough. And I feel that it's something that carries beyond the industry itself. You can look at politics today. Um, so that is the main theme I take away from that, is just it's not about customer service. It's really just trying to understand the other person and what their needs are. And I feel like that's probably fundamentally like the most important factor behind the industry, or just in life in general, is just being able to sit down and actually listen to the other person. um, which actually leads us to the third question. Tell us a story on how you have exemplified this theme or takeaway. Well, I feel like in general, like I'm not an argumentative person. I try to ask questions so that I can further understand what a person wants. I know some people may not understand that and realize like, hey, I really want you to get what you want, and I do it politely, very nicely, of course. And in general, and I kind of like, it's kind of funny because it kind of follows the other two questions as well. It's having that sense of diplomacy, that sense of tact, to be able to listen calmly and intently and try to understand what the other person's needs are or what they're looking for. For example, like if someone's thinking like, I want a cocktail, can you make up one for me? And I have nothing to go off of. So, the next questions are, what kind of flavors do you like? What kind of spirits do you want to try? What do you want to know? Because I'm not taking anybody for an idiot, and I shouldn't expect anybody to be like full on educated when they walk into the door. Um, it's about that interaction. I think, at the same time, like I do like talking about these things because I love spirits. I love making cocktails in general. Um, so it's a nice conversation to start up, and at the same time, like a good conversation, you're always walking away thinking about something. And, I feel like it'd be good for someone to think about how they can be a better customer, just like I feel like I can be a better bartender. There's practices and ways to do that, and the only way you do that is by communicating to another person and listening to what their needs are, and try to find an understanding and a common ground with the other person as well. The other day I was bartending Sunday, and this nice couple came in, an older couple. We were doing brunch. I was kind of like on the changeover, but I'm still making drinks, mainly off the dinner menu at this point. And they ordered a strawberry chili margarita, which is the one of the cocktails there. It's pretty popular, obviously, strawberry chili infused tequila. Um, but we wound up discussing mezcals, and I gave them like I handed them off a couple recipes. I was like, you guys, they were talking about how much they love, you know, sitting at home trying out tequila and mezcals and making all these cocktails, and I started giving them some recipes. I was like, hey, try this out. What kind of flavors do you like? Are you looking for interesting things to do? As a matter of fact, like it was an egg white drink I gave them that I learned from the Flatiron Lounge, and it was tequila and mezcal base, and it was a fizz. It was kind of like a Ramos fizz, but it has like a bit of pineapple, a little bit of anise, a little bit of lime. And I was telling them about it. I was like, you're telling me about like egg white drinks, but you don't really know which ones uh, for the agave spirits. And I wanted to be able to give them that. And like, hey, why don't you give this a try and let me know, and essentially like they'll probably be regulars to come see me and ask me more about agave spirits. And it goes across like any type of liquor. You just got to have like a real passion for it, and be open to people wanting to like absorb that knowledge. So all those things kind of just carry over into one another. All right, great. Best of luck. I hope to hear from you guys, and have a great weekend.